the biggest problem about appointing these kind of people with these kind of skills as postdocs is that you can do it. You can stretch the definitions of roles and, you know, find people who will fit them, who are good at web development or the technical side of things, but tick enough boxes on the scientific side that you can employ them as postdocs. But if what they're working on is the technical aspects, then during that postdoc they're not publishing, or certainly not as first author. You know, they're not leading science, and so that's essentially the end of their career on the academic path. And so it's, you know, then becomes much harder to appoint that person for another 3 years, because, you know, they've technically had a postdoc at that point, but there's no evidence for what they've done in the literature. So yeah, so establishing a different career path for those people is important, I think.
And I imagine that there are plenty of people out there who would like that career path, who love the science but actually love the web development, and would prefer to be doing that than chasing citations with papers the whole time.
Yeah.
Because that certainly is what's emerged in e-learning as well, so there's lots of people out there who really get their kicks from doing that, rather than being the pure academic researcher.
Yeah, and academia kind of benefits from that in a kind of unsymmetrical way, in that you can have people who are extremely talented in technology and would go to work, you know, for big companies like Google, but and earn lots and lots of money, but like science enough that they would rather earn a fraction of the salary but be that bit closer to the science. And so you have people who are very talented and could, you know, go off and be doing fantastic commercial things, but who stay close to science just because it's interesting rather than because of the money. So I think, you know, we'd be getting our money's worth out of being able to give those people jobs. There's one thing I wanted to say about the alternatives of a company or people within universities. So on the one hand, you could have a company or some companies that contained the experts on setting up the technical aspects of citizen science and were able to advise on the science to some degree, but, you know, weren't the experts in the particular field, so could only give ideas on the statistics or the kind of suitable kinds of tasks that you could do. And the way the funding could work is that funds could come in that were allowed to be spent on that kind of activity. The alternative is to host people in the university, so you allow universities to create posts that aren't based on academic qualifications, but that are based on ability to fulfill a role that's useful to the academics. I mean, we kind of already have that in terms of secretaries and kind of central IT people and things, but there's still a gap for someone who's associated with a project. But one of the problems with that is you end up with a lot of isolated people. You know, there isn't one person who has all the experience of citizen science, who understands the way to structure your scientific question to make it most suitable to the public, who has the ability to put together a good database web application, who has the ability to design an interface that will be engaging and attractive to the public and hold their attention, has the ability to write blog posts and outreach that explain what's being done back to the public. There isn't one person who has all those skills.
There isn't any software company; those would be 4 different people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you don't really want, and so you can't get one person who has all those skills to fill that role. So really, what you want is that organisation that you can go to, and so the way you can get that is one simple way is to have them all in one place as a company, but another equally viable way is to have them distributed so they are appointed in positions at lots of individual universities, but they are part of an organisation that that spans all those institutions and maybe all those countries, so that you by appointing that person, you're not really appointing that individual, you're appointing the ability to get access to the knowledge of all those people in the organisation. So it's kind of a way of having the company model without having to have a company and having these people distributed among the universities. So
I think what you've just described is a profession.
That's actually a good point.
Another way of saying you're creating a new career structure,
Okay,
because
yeah.
you're creating a new profession.
Yeah.
And some
But
universities can only afford one learning technologist, but that person goes to the Alt-C conference every year or knows people through their network.
Yeah.
For some universities might be able to have that rather than a company, an actual department with enough people.
Yeah, but I still think that the communications between those experts are very important.
Yeah.
And I think.
And that's what a profession is, really. It's when you start becoming, you say, I'm part of this and I have connections with other people that do this, and we talk to each other and support each other and build on each other's knowledge and things.
But in that way, I mean, what you'd want, whether it happened informally or formally, what you'd want is for the person you employ at your university or in your department to be able to buy a month's worth of time of somebody else at another department, who can then, and buy a few weeks' worth of time of that person, and in exchange they'll sell their time back. Because even with the profession model, you're still aiming for each individual to have all of the knowledge. So they go and they talk and they share ideas, but then they go back to their individual departments, and there can still be some communication, but essentially the person doing the work will always be that person. Whereas really what you want is a situation where that person can say, right, I've got a new citizen science project I need to develop. Okay, what are the things involved in this? Well, first of all, we need to define the project. Okay, well, I'm not an expert in that, but as part of the this organisation, I know a few people who are. So you arrange for them to have a meeting with your department to define those requirements. Okay, the next thing I need is to set up the IT structure for this. I am an expert in that, so I can just go and do that. Okay, next thing I need is the front end. I don't know how to do that, but I know people who do. And so whether it's just an informal agreement that these people all work together, but that's actually probably quite difficult to structure in a way that the university would be happy with, because what they'll see is their person spending a lot of time working for other people. So it might have to be something more formal, where you have this kind of exchange of time, or even exchange of money for time, so that you're employing one person, but you're actually getting 20% of 5 people. Really, that's what you want.
I was just thinking the phrase a distributed centre, and I thought, no, that's an oxymoron, I think. But you know how they have things now, like sort of centrally funded out of top sliced money. For instance, Disc Cetus has people in 3 different universities, but they're a centre.
Right.
But even more distributed than that, more embedded in the institutions than that.
I guess that would be exactly, that would be a very similar idea, that presumably they can work together on the same project. So you could have, you effectively have one organisation with working on lots of different projects, and it just happens that one person from that organisation sits next to each project and is kind of like the key person for that project maybe, but the work is still somehow centralised.
But are you even being ambitious enough? Because can you not see a time when a university, I mean, just walking through here, I saw these amazing different department names just on the wee walk from the where one university is making such good use of citizen science that they actually do need their own internal department with all those people. Because one person in each of 6 universities ain't going to cut it, because so many people are doing it that they need a lot more support.
Well, yeah, that is true. So in the future, potentially, if every department, every project that was suitable was using citizen science, then that would be an awful lot of resources required. So maybe you could end up with a situation where you have some kind of central citizen science department. Yeah, but at present there aren't enough people in the world who really have the experience to fill that. But yeah, in the future, I think that's definitely a possibility.